Welcome back to Child Guides today from Horizon Fish Keeping. Today we're going to just do a quick video on water parameters and how to test your water and different ways you can do that by altering sort of different parts of the water chemistry suitable for the fish. So I mean there's a few ways that you can do this. You can use something like this, which is the API Master Test Kit. This is the one that I do use regular, and it's very accurate, this test. I will say if you're using anything like this, then just sort of be aware it can show slight amounts of nitrates and things in your water that you shouldn't really be worried about as a new fish keeper. Slight adjustments to the water. So if you were, say for instance, if you were keeping a fish that needed a 7 pH and it was 6.8 or something on the Master Test Kit, I would just stick with that sort of water pH. I wouldn't try altering the pH or anything at that point. There's other ways of testing the water. You can use something like this, which I use regular as well. These are just test strips from Amazon. They're fairly cheap, unlike the test kits. The Master Test Kit's around £30 British, but it will last you a long time. It does come, you know, with several bottles. I've just added the syringe just to make for ease. And also you get some test tubes to test the water in, and what you do is you take 5 millilitres of water. I will show this on the video a little bit later on. You put 5 millilitres of water just up to the line there, and then you add the solutions for each test that you're using. So there's 4 test tubes in there for 4 tests. So there's a pH test, ammonia test, nitrite and nitrate test, which are all relevant to these colour charts, and that'll give you the parameters for the water that you're testing. Where it's a little bit different with these test strips, it's a similar sort of concept but a different idea of how to use them. A bit of an unboxing as well, I'll throw that in there. So what you do is with the test strips, this is a new pack obviously, I'm just taking it out of the box. It's got the same tests as the Master Test Kit, so the ammonia, nitrate, nitrogen. These ones have got hardness, free chlorines, nitrate, nitrites, carbonate and pH. So testing for similar things in the water. These are very basic tests, by the way. If when you get into fish keeping a little bit more advanced, you will want to start testing for sort of like the hardness, so the KH and the GH. They're very useful when testing water as well. So it's just a sealed container, and what you've got inside here, sorry for the rubbish unboxing on the video, but you've just got a test strip like this, and as you can see it's got multiple tests on there. What you do is you dip this into the aquarium water, which I'll show you in a moment, and then you'll just put it up to the relevant colour guide, and that'll teach you what's going on with the water. The reason why I'm doing this video today, I know it's a bit of a beginner's video for my channel, and I do a lot of fish breeding and things like that, is because, as you can probably see behind me, this tank's gone a little bit cloudy. This has happened because I've topped the water up yesterday with just some clean water, dechlorinated, and it's just sort of gone into a bit of a bacteria die-off. But just to make sure for my own peace of mind, I'm just going to do some tests on this tank today. I've absolutely no idea what the parameters are at this moment. Like I say, I topped this up last night, and I just wanted to sort of show newcomers that could come across this problem, think, oh my god, my tank's gone cloudy, what do I do now? So having things like this in your arsenal are really helpful, just for your own peace of mind. If there's any problems with the fish, so unexpected deaths or anything like that, or illness, I would say that you should test your water immediately if that's happening. If you're getting sort of algae blooms and things like that, it tends not to be the water quality that's the issue. It's more excess light. You know, there could be too much flow, too little flow. Things like that can cause algae. So that'll come to another video, and we'll look at that maybe another time. If you guys wanted to talk about something like that, then if you just left a comment in the comment section below, that'd be awesome, and we'll do a video on algae and how to get rid of it, because that is probably one of the most common questions I've been asked with my tanks. Why haven't I got algae in my tanks? I do have algae in my tanks. I just do regular weekly maintenance, and that sort of reduces that. So what we'll do is now anyway, we'll switch the camera around, we'll go over to this tank just behind me, and we'll do some water tests and just see what the parameters are. As I've just said there, I've got no illness in fish, I've had no fish losses, The only sort of visual thing that I'm getting off the tank is cloudy water. I'm suspecting that it's bacterial die-off, or maybe an alter in pH, something like that. But we'll test the water, just make sure, and then I'll know for my own peace of mind that everything's going okay. So I'll get with you in a second, guys. So then, guys, I've decided to do a water test on this particular tank because this is my partner's tank. If you watched some of the previous videos where she scaped this tank, we've been trying to get this to cycle for some time. So with a tank that's newly established, what you'll tend to find is after about a week or so, you'll start getting ammonia in the water if you're doing a fishing cycle. And what that means is that the tank's not ready for the fish yet. You can do fishing cycles, there's information online about that, but it's a very risky sport to be doing sort of fishing cycles and things that can make the fish that you use in the cycle process susceptible to sort of disease and things like that. So we're testing at the moment. We want to see on this particular tank no ammonia, no nitrite. It can have a little bit of nitrates. That would mean that you would need to water change if there's any nitrites in the water. The only time that you want to see nitrate in the water is if you're using sort of plant fertilizers. Sometimes that can have trace nitrates in it, and it would show up on a test kit. So we're going to use the test strips first. Again, as I said, these are the tests that we're testing for today. So the ammonia, nitrate and nitrite, so them three in particular, are very important for fish health and to know if your tank's cycled or not. So on the ammonia scale, we want to see 0, and it's marked with OK just above. If you can just see that. So ammonia, and we want it in the first box, so the colour represents what will show on the test strips once it's been in the water. And also we've got nitrate and nitrite just below. And again, on this particular packet, it just say that you've got an OK range on the first one for nitrite, and then for nitrate it can be in between them 3 boxes. If you are using sort of plant fertilizers, I'd expect it to be in the 50 parts per million box, so this one. So we'll just test the water anyway now, and I'll show you a quick demonstration on these easy to use strips. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. These are just ones I buy off Amazon. So basically you just get your test strip out. It looks just like that. Let's see if we can get a bit of better focus on there. And as you can see, they've all got slight colour to them, but after they've been in the water, they do change colour, and then that's when you'd put it to your scale. So we'll just pop the test strip in under the water like that. Just give it a wiggle around a little bit. You just pop it out. If you just leave that to sit for a couple of seconds, it's a good time to put a lid on your tub, because if water gets in there, it'll ruin all your test strips. So just keep your lid on tight when you're doing this. If we just get this test strip, which we've just placed in the water, and we're looking for the first box just there, and we want it to match the first colour, which just off camera it looks slightly different in shade, but it's showing that there's 0 ammonia in this water at the moment. If we look down to the second box, which is the hardness on these strips, they do change from brand to brand. We've got purple on the strip, so we'll run across, look for purple, and we're just out of the OK box, but I know that I've put in fruit kush coral in this tank just because my pH is slightly low, so I've hardened up the water slightly, so I know that should be there. And then moving down, if we look at the next pink one, there's nitrate. It does have a slight pink colour to the strip, and I know that as well because I've put some plant fertilizer in there, and we're just at the 50 parts per million. The next important one would be nitrite. We want 0 on this test strip, which it's showing white, so that comes up as 0 on the tube. So that's fine now. So in theory, this tank is established now, so you could put fish into that water quite safely. The next one, which is important, is the pH. So the pH is showing at 6.2. This is going to be a better tank, so a low pH is fine, but you want to aim for around 7 with most tropical fish, unless you're going into sort of like Lake Malawi fish or Tanganyikan fish, which would need around an 8 pH. So that's how you use the test strips. We'll move on to the liquid test. Like I say, it's slightly more accurate, so we'll get a little bit of a different reading, but we'll just see what that comes out with now. So then guys, we'll just move on to the liquid test kit. As I said before, the API liquid test kit does come with 4 test tubes. It does have 5 tests in the API liquid test kit. It's because it's got 2 pH tests. There's a high range and just a normal range pH test. So what you'd end up doing is doing an ammonia, nitrate and nitrite. And just as the test before, we're looking for no ammonia and no nitrite in the test tubes. A bit of nitrate is okay. Nitrate's a good one to judge when you need to do water changes. So any ammonia or nitrite, you would want to do at least a 50% water change until that's down to 0. If you do have any nitrate in the water, like I said, it can be caused by some plant fertilizers, will trigger that in the water, as you've seen on the test there. But if you've got any nitrates, you can keep a bit of nitrate in the water, but I'd try and keep it under 10 parts per million. And as for most tropical fish, I'd probably try and keep around the 7 pH, certain neutral. But we'll do the liquid test on this tank now. So you do get the 4 test tubes from API. I do have this bit of a swanky test tube holder. It just makes it slightly easier if you can stand these test tubes up and you can put all the test tubes in and do the test as one. If you've got something like this, you can get these off Amazon pretty cheap. I think that were like less than £3. So like I said before, I'll just switch the light on actually. Yeah, that's a little better. So what as I said before, it comes with a line on these ones just there, and that's your fill mark, and it comes to 5 millilitres on the API test kit. So you want to fill all your test tubes to that line. I won't bore you with that. I'll just get some of the tank water from the tank. As I said before as well, I just use like a little syringe like this. It just makes it a little bit easier to get the water in and accurately, rather than trying to scoop water out and pouring bits out and then trying to put a bit in. I just draw some of the water up. This is a 3mm syringe, so you have to do it twice, but like I say, you just put the water in just like that. I'll just get a little bit more till it's up to the line. Hopefully you can see this on camera okay. So you just get your fill level there. So there you go, just up to the line. And then we'll just do a quick pH test while we've got it going. Unprepared as usual. So you just get a pH bottle there. On the API ones, it just says add 3 drops, and that's 3 drops of solution to the water. So just give these a good shake. Just take the lids off, and it comes with a dropper on top of the bottle, just like that. And you just count 3 drops in. So 1, 2, 3, and then API says you just get. They do come with caps, but I don't tend to use them. You just invert the bottle a couple of times, and you can see it starting to go green. So that's the finished colour. And then on the back of your instruction book for the API master test kit, you look for pH, which is this column, and then you just match the colour of the liquid. I would say this one's at 6.6, so this colour chart here, just put it in the white at the side of the thing, and I'd say it's probably around 6.6. So again, better tank. It's roughly the same as we did on the paper test strips, and you just repeat this test then. So you just get your next test tube, syringe there, fill this one up to the line. This is an empty clean one. Make sure they are clean as well in between test guys, because they can interfere with each other if you're using test tubes like this. You want to just make sure they're all clean and dry before you do a test. So again, this is a second test now. Some of the bottles do come in a 2-part series, so like the ammonia and the nitrate are in a 2-part 2 bottles. So we've got like these ones here. There's ammonia bottle 1, then ammonia bottle 2. So you add 8 drops of bottle 1 first, and then invert it, and then do 8 drops of bottle 2 there. So I'll just get bottle 1, again just give them a good shake. They've probably been sat on a shelf, so then we're just using the ammonia bottle 1 now. and this solution I think is clear. So 8 drops of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of bottle 1. Just put that on the side. Again, just invert it, just make sure the solution's mixed up with the water correctly. Then we'll move on to bottle 2. 8 drops of this one. And we're going for a 0 on this one, so just put the 8 drops in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one's a thinner solution as well, I forgot to mention. So it does come out slightly faster than bottle one does. So they're both in there. Again, invert a couple of times. And it's pretty instant, the API test, to be honest. Really good test kit. So we're on the ammonia now, so this colour chart. So we just want to match up the colour for this. So that's blatantly yellow. So we're at 0 parts per million. So that's very good. If we had any ammonia in the tank at this point, we'd want to be thinking about doing water changes. So just put that to one side, and then we'll move on. So again, clean dry test tube. Fill it to the 5 ml mark. So there we go. It's up to the 5 ml mark. Then we'll do the nitrate test this time. Again, the nitrate test comes in 2 bottles. Bottle 1 and bottle 2. Start bottle 1. And this one needs 10 drops of bottle 1. So it adds 10 drops of the solution into the tank water there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, once you've done one of the solutions, just invert the tube. You can see it's got a yellow colour, this one. Then we'll move on to bottle 2. Again, this one's 10 drops. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The bottle 2 solutions, for some reason, are really thin compared to bottle 1. Again, just invert this. It did show a slight bit of nitrate, I think, on the test strips. So I would expect to see some nitrate in this. So we're looking for nitrate just there. So it's the end column. You see, it looks very yellow on the camera there, but to a naked eye it's in between, so it's about 2 parts per million, which is totally fine. And then we've just got the last test, which would be the nitrite. So just 1 bottle for this test, and it's just 5 drops. So again, just fill it up with tank water, just repeating the steps from all the other tests. Again, make sure it's clean and dry, there's no contaminants in it. That could show false readings on the test. Up to 5 ml mark. So there we go. And then the nitrite test, sorry, is at 5 drops. So just pop that open. So 5 drops of this. 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, once you've got your solution in, just invert the bottle a couple of times. And then we're looking for 0 on this, hopefully. If there is 0 on this, that means the tank's cycled, because it has had fish in it, and we've been ghost feeding it as well. So ammonia would show, and then nitrite is the next on the cycle. So you can see that it's glowing blue, which is 0 parts per million on this column. And that's where we want it. So that says to me that this tank is fully cycled. So if it wasn't cycled, or if there were any problems with the water parameters in this tank, one way to combat that would be to do a water change. So if you've had something like 20 parts per million or 10 parts per million nitrite, what you could do is, if you drop the water parameters, the water volume down and dilute the excess nitrate or ammonia. So that's why we do water changes in the aquarium hobby. It's to keep the water stable. So any swings, something like a pH swing where it could, if it starts dropping below sort of 6, the pH can crash and make the water too acidic for the fish to live in. Also, it can go the other way if you're putting too many sort of hard stones in, lots of calcium, things like that, carbonates, that can alter the pH to go too high. So if you're keeping something like a German blue ram, if you're putting loads of crushed coral in, German blue ram's like 6.5 pH to sort of 7.5, you could end up with an 8 pH, which is not really suitable for that type of fish. Also cardinal tetras, neon tetras that live in black water, they like to have a really low pH. So you've just got to keep an eye on your pHs and things like that. I will say if you keep it around 7, most fish will live comfortably in that pH. I wouldn't try altering it too much. Sometimes it's classed as called making water. If you're making water like that, sometimes you can run into more difficulties trying to keep it at the level that you want it at. So if you wanted it, if you wanted it like 7.5 but your tap water's 7, so you go and bang loads of crushed coral in there or buffers and things, anything that the fish shops will sell you, you can end up going up to like 7.5, and then like a week later your water will crash down to 6, and then it'll just, it'll go totally the opposite way to what you want. So you're probably better just keeping it as it comes out of the tap if you can. Things like nitrite and ammonia are usually caused by excess food. So dropping a big bombshell of food in the tank and letting it all rot, that can cause higher ammonia levels in the tank. And ammonia can spike as well, so you can test with water like today. I could drop 10 tetras in this tank tonight, and then obviously they're going to the toilet in the water. By tomorrow night, the nitrite and the ammonia could be so high that they're getting ammonia burns and things like that. So it's just an easy balance. Because it's a new aquarium, I've been ghost feeding it, so that basically means feeding it with no fish in there, to give the bacteria something to feed on and breed. So I know this tank's sort of ready for fish, but you want to add fish slowly. We're putting one better fish in this tank, and then once the fish is added, we'll keep an eye on the parameters over the next couple of weeks and make sure that the ammonia is not going too high or the nitrates aren't rising too high, to cause problems for that fish. If you're just putting one fish in a tank, then you're usually okay, but obviously you're not going to put like an Oscar in this tank. That's going to create a massive biomass. When my partner feeds a better fish as well, she gets like individual bloodworms and feeds them off tweezers. That way the rotting sort of food and stuff at the bottom of the tank can't create more ammonia than the tank can handle. If you're using like pellet or flake food, just go really sparingly, don't get a teaspoon worth and throw that in the tank, because a lot of it will miss the fish and then it'll go to the bottom or into little hidey holes in the pebbles and things like that, and that can rot over time and build up, and that'll bring the ammonia up as well. So just keep them things in mind when you're doing these tests. And if you're looking at why is my ammonia yesterday were at 0, now it's at like 10 parts per million, chances are the stocking level's too high on the fish, or you're just feeding way too much. That'll cause the ammonia just to explode. And things like pH, if you are in a really soft area, so under 7 pH, you can use stuff like crushed coral instead of buffers. I used to use like sea chem buffer. That were really good for the first couple of weeks. So you put loads of buffer in, you get to the pH that you wanted, then all of a sudden the water would just crash out and it'd be like 5 pH the week after. Whereas if you use something like a crushed coral, you get them in like a little media bag. You can buy little 100-gram bags off like eBay and Amazon and stuff. And I've got it in all my tanks, just because my pH is so low at the tap. Because I try and keep mine at 7 pH. So I get 6.5 pH water, so I fill the tank up. The tank's now at 6.5 pH. And then what I do is my little media bag of crushed coral, just drop it down in the filter or hide it behind some rocks or whatever. And that'll slowly dissolve into the water, and that gives you hardness and the pH. And because it's slowly into the water, what you don't get is that big jump of now it's 7, now it's 8, now it's 6. You don't get the swing as much. It just keeps it on like a gradual level. If you've got lots of stuff like bogwood in the tank, that will slightly lower the pH over time as well. If like now this one's at sort of 6.5, if you just left that running without water changes, you know, for 6 months, I can pretty much guarantee the pH will be about 4 or 5 by the time you test it over that amount of time, just because that's degrading in the water the whole time, and that's going to be dropping the pH. So that's why we do water change as well. As the pH is dropping, we take out 50%, fill it back up with 6.5 pH, and if it were at 6.4, 6.3, it's just going to bring it back to where it started, and it gets time to run down and then bring it back to where it started. And that's the cycle we're looking for, to keep it a constant rather than big swings in the water parameters. Anyway guys, I'm going to wrap this video up today. If you've got any questions on this video, you can just leave a comment in the comments box below. If you just want to say hi or whatever, that's great as well. Comments and stuff like that helps my algorithm out. I'd love it if you could like this video, that also helps the video, my channel out. If you're not subscribed to the channel, it'd be really helpful if you could click the subscribe button. And to all my subscribers that are already subscribed and watching all my videos, thank you very much for taking your time out of your day to look at my videos and see what's going on in my fish room. So I'll leave it right now guys, but I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.